Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be looking at one of the most hilarious and speedy downfalls of a game you will ever see. So we're going to be talking about an indie studio backed by Microsoft with connections to the usual suspects like Sweet Baby Inc. and also payment processors like Visa and MasterCard produce a project that is nothing more than virtue signaling slop propaganda masqueraded as a video game. And the second there was a spotlight shined on this game by gamers and content creators, everyone involved with this project has pretty much wiped their entire digital footprint. They don't want to be discovered. They don't want people looking into their business. They've gone completely off the grid, and for good reason, as we'll see. So we're talking about a game called Take Us North. And there's a reason why this game has been dubbed the illegal migrant simulator, because that's exactly what it is. So here's the description of this game from their Kickstarter page. It's going to be developed by Anima Interactive, who describes themselves as a socially conscious indie game studio that focuses on making social change. Isn't that just stunning and brave? Yeah. How does this translate into good and enjoyable video games? I'm curious. That's really the million-dollar question here. But here's the description of the game. So this is their first project at the studio. It is a narrative-driven video game inspired by real-world stories that immerses players in the poignant journeys of migrants and asylum seekers on their way to cross the U.S.-Mexico border. Yes, unfortunately, I have to answer the question for you guys. No, you cannot play the real heroes like ICE or the Border Patrol. No, you're playing the role of these migrants illegally entering the United States. They are trying to glamorize this experience, and even in their own words, trying to humanize the migrant and refugee experience by portraying it sensitively and respectfully. Yeah, this is propaganda, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a video game. This is propaganda. They are trying to sell you a political agenda with this game. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of it. People are tired of this nonsense. This is not a video game. This is simply propaganda. Now, the reaction to this from gamers has been very clear. People hate this and they're mocking it. But the industry has been propping this up ever since this project was announced. There are countless articles about this nobody studio in their first game describing it as some very important piece of media. You can see Wired saying the plight of migrants is deeply misunderstood. Can a video game help? Here's the answer. No. It's probably going to make things worse. I'm going to be honest with you. The type of stuff we're going to see today, if anything, radicalizes people in the exact opposite direction, okay? So here is the trailer. And the reception to this has been almost exclusively negative. And before we look at some of the comments, I just want to describe something that as a YouTuber I noticed, and I think it's a little bit odd. The number of likes versus dislikes doesn't really make any sense. Like, for a video with 13,000 views, to have 2,100 likes, that's a lot of likes for that number of views. Typically, you see that if the video is like a very hype one from a very well-liked content creator, has like a really built-in audience, and it gets off to a really fast start with the likes. 2,100 on this video on a channel with 75 subscribers is odd, especially when you consider the fact that it still has more likes than dislikes, despite the fact that the entire comment section is negative. You can't find a single positive comment left on the video. In fact, here's just a couple examples. Comment section will see more numbers than people playing this. This is gold. I wonder if there's any mini games like avoiding being attacked as a child or escape the prison farm once the cartel gets you where they want you. I can't wait for Send Themself DLC. I'm willing to bet the devs are the not in my backyard type of people. Now, this was already bad reception, but a lot of this was fueled because Asmongold reacted to this. I mean, think about how much this impacted the reception of this game. Someone simply shared a tweet talking about this. He goes and finds this footage from Gamescom, and he gives his commentary. And it's not too surprising what he's saying. He thinks this is propaganda. He thinks this is ridiculous. And so does everyone in his audience.
At Gamescom, they're currently showcasing a game about illegally crossing into the USA and processing the trauma from being a minority with real audio clips from real illegals. I have to see this. I have to see it. I want to watch it. This is content. Wait a minute. Okay, we might have something here. Let's get it.
As my pronouns are she, her, and yeah,
Shit!
great. So I got a little intro. Thank you. My name's Carla Reyes. My pronouns are she, her, and yeah, I run a little indie studio called Anima Interactive. We're developing Take Us North, which is about migration across the U.S.-Mexico border. Which is obviously a very relevant and heavy-hitting topic.
Yeah.
But that's why we found it important to talk about now. And I'll share a little bit about our behind-the-scenes in the development of this project, because it's very deeply rooted in research. Given how sensitive and complex and nuanced the subject matter is, we want to make sure that we are telling these stories.
Are they going to research the way that illegal migrants steal the identities of American citizens and then claim their benefits illegally? I wonder if they're going to talk about that.
I'm someone who always says, do not celebrate your victory until it actually happens. When it comes to fighting this stuff in the gaming industry, there's really no end in sight. Like, these games are going to keep coming out for many, many years to come. But I will say I'm happy to see games like this get absolutely stomped out the second they come out of the ground, right? The second these things sprout up and people discover them, it gets stomped right into the dirt, right where it belongs, because this game is ridiculous. It's just propaganda. They're selling you a message, and everything about this is exhausting, and people are exhausted. Look at the comments on Asmongold's video. I have liberal women fatigue. How bad could it be? My pronouns are she/her. Oh, it's instantly terrible. Your country sucks. Let us in quotes. Press X to be lectured to. Press Y to be emotionally manipulated. That's pretty much what all this is. It's emotional manipulation. They're trying to make you feel bad. They're trying to make you basically throw all of your logic out the window, and they want you to just empathize with the story they're selling you. That's pretty much all they can do in this situation. But yeah, the debate surrounding this stuff in the United States, you'll see the most insane amount of emotional manipulation ever. But anyways, Asmongold's reaction kicks off a lot more people discovering this, obviously, and this began kind of the nuking of all the related accounts and pages, beginning with the video from Gamescom that he reacted to. They privated that video instantly, and as always with this stuff, if you are truly proud of what you're creating, even if someone discovers it who doesn't like it, you would still stand by it, right? It's more eyes on your game. Wouldn't that be a thing you could turn into something good? Wouldn't you be proud of the extra attention if you really believed in your product? But that's not what happened. They instantly started hiding. And you would see this interaction here where in this description of the situation, Asmongold says you could say they self-deported, and then Elon Musk would reply to that saying, is Microsoft really funding this company? And Asmongold says, I'm actually not sure. I don't think it's direct funding, but maybe from a VC that's a couple levels of removal from Microsoft instead. Most cynical evaluation funded by a group that works with someone at MC/Xbox to launder their dumb ideas without damaging the Microsoft brand. Of course, they have some affiliation with the game, Microsoft that is, and really the name alone is enough, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Microsoft was funding this company in one way or another. It seems like that is the very obvious reality, and nobody should be shocked by this because Microsoft is an incredibly woke company. They've funded small indie studios like this before with propaganda like this. It's not surprising whatsoever, the prospect of Microsoft funding this game in one way or another. But there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, a lot of things that need to be looked at, beginning with the Kickstarter page. You might have noticed it raised $56,000. It's fully funded. There were 585 sentient human beings who saw an illegal migrant simulator and said, yup, I want in, to the tune of $56,000. Based on the number of backers and the number of money they've raised, it's like an average of $100 per donation. Like, that's insane, dude. Like, I'm in the wrong business. I should start coming up with stupid ideas like this and starting a Kickstarter. Honestly, if you want a good Kickstarter, someone should get basically the opposite version where you play as ICE or Border Patrol. That might be a nice business venture for some game dev out there who wants to make a name for themselves. But there's a lot more going on. So you start looking at Anima Interactive. This is the indie studio that is working on this. It's their first project, and as you can see, they describe themselves as socially conscious indie game developers. Yeah, that's awesome. And down here they say, we're a small but mighty team of artists, storytellers, and activists. An activist. They don't even hide it. Normally with the other studios, they try to pretend like they're not activists. They just say, yeah, we have activists in our ranks. But they say the development team behind Take Us North represents over 15 countries, including Argentina, Colombia, blah, 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 blah. And then they say our team is over 60% black, indigenous, people of color, and over 60% female/non-binary. Why do I care? Is this going to produce a good game or not? Does the number of non-binaries in your studio affect how good the game is? Why are you telling me this? I don't care. Like, this is what the average person thinks when they see this stuff. If your best quality is your diversity, you're probably not going to make a very good product, right? But when you start looking at the Kickstarter, things just don't add up, man. What is this? There's many different tiers and rewards for your donations, and there's this big one right here, the North Star Pack, for $5,000. You can get a special invitation to real-world research trips and /or visit a migrant shelter. These people are like pawns to them. They're like circus animals. I mean, what are they going to say? Like, oh, you give us $5,000, then you can look at the migrants and throw peanuts at them if you want. Like, this is so weird. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, they're taking it into real life. It's not enough that they're having this simulator. No, they're going to show you what's happening in real life, which also sounds potentially very dangerous. But also, there is a very interesting aspect here where they're interviewing migrants. Now, that's something that normally you're allowed to do with the First Amendment. Like, you can interview illegals, like there's nothing wrong there. But the second you start facilitating anything that helps with their illegal entry into the country, that's breaking the law. So they're skating on some really thin ice to begin with here. I don't know why they're admitting all of this. And apparently also it's being incorporated in their games as well, like some of their dialogue and stuff. Very, very shaky territory right there. But also you can see this individual. She is the one from the Gamescom video that Asmongold reacted to. And you can see Take Us North, creative director Carla Reyes, walking along trails in the Sonoran deserts, carrying artifacts left behind by migrants. Now, she's been having a rough couple of days. This is the creative director, and we're going to talk about her in just a second, but there's a lot of nuking of accounts right now, as pointed out by Smash JT here. Basically, everything associated with this game has gone off the grid. The website for Anima, gone. They privated their own website. Anima's Twitter account, nuked. The creative director's account, Carla, nuked. All of their social medias, including Instagram as well. Everything's gone. And as he points out, and I agree, again, if you're proud of what you're creating, why are you hiding? Why are you nuking all of your accounts because people are actually looking at what you're doing now? Like, it's a pretty bad sign for them. But the more you dig into these people, the crazier it gets. So we have the Carla Reyes, creative director of the game. There's a lot going on with her. So looking at her accounts here, she is someone with wings. Now, if you don't know Wings, that is a Sweet Baby Inc. collaborator, a company that works with them. It is pushing the same agenda as them, so that's interesting. Once again, it always comes together in one form or another. Sweet Baby Inc. is always involved with everything, and we're going to get more direct connections to Sweet Baby in just a second. But also, curiously enough, if you look at her work history here, she worked as a product manager for 3 years with who else but Visa. Now, if you've been paying attention to the channel for the past month and a half, we've talked a lot about Visa and MasterCard. Those are payment processors that groups like Collective Shout have been putting pressure on And in turn, the payment processors are putting pressure on places like Steam and itch.io and trying to get them to remove what they deem as problematic content, problematic games, with the threat of removing their payment processing services, which would basically take away their ability to make any money. So again, another connection established here, and it goes even deeper. You can see from her other jobs, she was a product manager and designer at Niantic, as well as a product manager at Square Enix, which again, these companies have dealt with their own waves of being accused of virtue signaling and trying to get into woke stuff and all that. So again, another connection to the industry, and then it goes even further. So we have this Women in Gaming breakfast event here, how gaming is driving positive global change, where Carla Reyes is there, alongside representatives from MasterCard. How many connections can we get? You know, people like anyone defending this, the games journalists, all those who I'm sure will be whipping up a frenzy about the backlash this game is getting, they will tell you you're insane for seeing these connections. But no, it's not a conspiracy. It's nothing crazy. It's right in front of you all the time. The payment processors, the consulting firms, they all are just kind of a band working together and pushing their own agenda. I think it's so obvious. It's right in front of your face. But keep going, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, too, as pointed out by Savvy here, a former Obama worker is a part of the development of this game. A game dev here by the name of Mark DeLaura. He was a former employee of the Obama administration. Yes, we have an administrative connection at this point. It's actually insane. Let's keep going. As pointed out by Madam Savvy again. There's another connection, this time right to a Sweet Baby Inc. employee, this at Lego Butts individual. This is a Sweet Baby Inc. employee, and you might remember this person. It's been maybe like a year since we talked about this person, but when everyone started paying attention to Sweet Baby Inc., they started looking at the employees and their unhinged social media posts, and this guy had a million of them, saying crazy stuff about Jews, and also he was dropping slurs left and right, which really only matters because he's a part of Sweet Baby, who's trying to like virtue signal about diversity and all this stuff. But also he has all these comments about white males, saying, pay me to shoot down your white male lead game ideas. Had a nightmare that I was a white male gamer. Yes, this is the person who's preaching about diversity and inclusion. Shocking. But there's that connection right there. Here's another one. And this one is just like, I don't even know what to say at this point. They had an events. Carla Reyes was alongside Anita Sarkeesian. Now, in case you're not familiar with that name, she was the one who started the original Gamergate back in 2014, trying to basically sanitize and censor the gaming industry, mainly complaining about attractive female characters, and she was trying to paint this picture that the gaming industry and gaming culture was a threat to women, to the point where she literally grifted her way all the way to the United Nations. Yes, the United Nations listened to this woman talk about video games and human rights. Absolutely insane. So seeing all of this, it's not surprising this individual just nuked everything they have on social media. They've gone completely silent. I think the only account that any of these parties still have up are on what place, you guess? Blue Sky. Because of course, the echo chamber of Blue Sky is always there to coddle them whenever they face any sort of criticism. So they're keeping that one for now. But yeah, that's going to do it for this situation. Very wild game, studio, and all the connections with it. Pretty wild stuff. But as always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.